Today I have a take two with Therese video for Altenew, and this one's actually been requested by Glennis. Thank you very much. She wants me to use some ink sprays as sprays. Yes, I know, I don't normally do that. Not very often anyway. So I've got a couple of the Altenew sprays here. Now a lot of them are metallic, so you can see me checking the mica that's at the bottom of the bottle. I'm making sure that it's mixed. It's best to swirl your mica to mix it, and when you store these ink sprays you need to lie them on their side because the mica can get inside the spray nozzle and clog. Now I'm spraying these directly on some Neenah 80-pound cardstock, and it's tolerating it very well without too much warping. I've used sea glass and frayed leaf and just sprayed them directly, but then I thought it needed some spatters. So I came in with the Frosty pink and it just wasn't bright enough for me. So then I grabbed the coral berry and I think that looked heaps better. Now I'm just spraying this in an old pizza box. I think I had some supplies delivered in this. It's not like a used food box, but you could use anything like a shoebox, whatever you have on hand. And while that panel's drying, I'm going to start working on my first card. I have a really pretty set which is called Dainty Bouquet, and I'd already stamped and die cut the other little flower sprig and thought, well, I might as well use it. I saw it there and I thought this silhouette's going to look really beautiful on that sprayed background. So I did the second image and stamped it out with some permanent black ink on some 80-pound cardstock and die cut that out with the coordinating die. And they're a really intricate die. Now I did play around a little bit with my layout. I was kind of thinking initially about just putting the flowers up to one side of the card, and I think that would have looked really pretty. But then I decided to go with like a center sort of bouquet today. Now I do want to pop one of the sprigs up, so I have die cut from some fun foam. Now when I want to add an image on top of fun foam, I actually do the die cutting through my Big Shot. I'm finding that the Gemini Junior just puts too much pressure on the fun foam and it squishes it out too much, and then I have a piece of fun foam that's too wide for my image. So there's a tip. I'm using a sentiment. This is from the Exotic Tulips set, which is the set I'm going to use on the next card. And I've just white heat embossed that on some pink cardstock. And I'm so glad to be able to use the fun foam technique here with this floral sprig, because that would have been such a pain and I would have had to pop it up because I really needed that extra height on my card. I would have had to do it. And cutting tiny little pieces of foam tape would have done my head in. Anyway, so I've used some matte medium to adhere both of my floral sprigs to the front of my card, and then I've also popped up the sentiment with some foam squares. So there is a little bit of dimension to this card, but I think it adds to the whole look when it's on that beautiful sprayed background. These colours are really pretty together, and when I was spraying the blue and the green, I wasn't concerned about the colours mixing, because when they mix, they actually mix quite well. But if you had colours that weren't going to play nicely together, you would need to wait in between your layers when you're adding different colours. Alright, so now I've got my favourite new tool out again. This is one of the mask stencils. It coordinates with the Exotic Tulips stamp set. And I'm working on a piece of 80-pound cardstock again. It's cut to the same size as my front of my card. And I've masked off the tulip that I want to add the spray to. So I'm actually using the negative portion of the image to add colour to where my flower's going to be. Although I'm not adding much pink. I'm tapping it and it's not going where I want it to go. Always happens when I'm splattering. So when I used the mask stencil, I did actually put all of the other pieces in place of the plastic, like all the positive spaces, like a jigsaw puzzle, because then I figured it would protect my panel that I was creating that was going to go in front of my card just a little bit better. And that's also why these scrap pieces are paper. Can you see? I just am not getting any pink on the rosebud, on the tulip bud. Anyway, frustrated. But yes, so I did lots of protecting of my front panel here. Now this is actually a stamp layering set, this Exotic Tulips. So I've grabbed the outline layer and I'm actually going to use some permanent black ink and stamp over top of the ink sprayed negative images. I did wait for the ink spray to dry before I did this stamping. So these are going to be on the front of my card. I also stamped out some of the images on what was left of the spray panel that I used initially. And I did actually stamp these images a couple of times just because I was stamping on the ink spray. It actually stamped really well though. Now I'm back to the panel that's going on the front of my card, and I'm using the positive portions of the mask stencil. Now I'm loving these mask stencils. I'm using them on every card. And I've got my jet black ink and I'm splattering the background. And I'm doing big splodges. Luckily, that's where one of my flowers is going to go. And it wasn't even a creative opportunity. It's actually where my flower was going to go. So that was perfect. I also decided to stamp out my stems at this point, and I couldn't work out where the other stems were going to be, so I did actually die cut these other images out, so that just helped me work out which way my stems were going to face on the card front. So I took a sentiment there from the Weekend Doodles stamp set and stamped that with my Mini Misty. I've added the panel to the front of a top fold card, and now I'm just popping up the tulips. In retrospect, I probably would have made the tulips on the base of the card darker and the ones that set out the front lighter, but maybe next time, I'm not sure. There could be a next time. And I'm just adding an enamel dot from the Red Cosmos set, and it's a heart enamel dot, and I thought that went perfectly with the sentiment. So like this video if you like it, and if you haven't already, it would be awesome if you could subscribe to this channel. There's always heaps of inspiration here. Until next time, bye.